Welcome to Networks Professionals.
All right, let's get into it. We're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most important, but maybe one of the most overlooked parts of building powerful AI. Welcome to our explainer on what I like to call the secret ingredient of AI, feature engineering.
You know, we all have this picture in our heads, right? These giant server farms, blinking lights, some genius algorithm solving the world's biggest problems. But honestly, that's kind of like judging a five-star meal by the oven it was cooked in. What if the real magic isn't in the algorithm at all?
That's right. The success or the failure of a massive multi-million-dollar AI project can all come down to the prep work. It hinges on the choices made about the data long before that fancy model ever even sees it.
And that gets us right to the heart of the matter, the raw data problem. You see, raw data on its own is usually just a chaotic mess, and a machine learning model, no matter how powerful, can't learn from that. It needs a guide.
This quote, well, it pretty much says it all. A lot of the top minds in the field believe that this whole process we're about to unpack is the main event. It's not just another step. For all intents and purposes, it's the entire game.
So what is this secret ingredient we keep talking about? It's called feature engineering, and it's really the art and science of prepping your data to do something amazing.
So here's the big idea. It's all about using human expertise, what the slide calls domain knowledge, which is really just a fancy way of saying deep, real-world understanding of a subject to pick out, tweak, and even invent the most valuable bits of information, or features, for the model. You're basically becoming a personal chef for your AI, curating the perfect diet for it.
To make this super clear, let's imagine a data scientist is a master chef. A great chef doesn't just toss random stuff into a pan and hope for the best, right? No way. They have a very specific method for preparing every single ingredient to create a masterpiece.
And this breaks it down perfectly. First up, selection. The chef tosses out the junk, like an employee's name, and keeps only the good stuff. Next, creation. This is where the magic happens. They take simple ingredients, like a person's start date, and turn them into something way more powerful, like years of experience. And finally, transformation. They get everything into the right shape and size, making sure all the data is on the same scale so the model can process it all fairly.
Okay, so why bother with all this? Why go through all that trouble? Well, let's talk about the payoff, because believe me, this prep work is absolutely critical.
The benefits are just huge. I mean, look at this. Better ingredients, better features obviously lead to way more accurate predictions. A cleaner, more organized data set means the model actually trains faster, which saves a ton of time and money. A well-balanced set of features stops the model from getting obsessed with the wrong details. That's what we call overfitting. And maybe most importantly, a model built on clear, well-chosen features is just way easier for us humans to understand and, to actually trust.
All right, that's enough theory. Let's make this real. We're going to walk through a super common example, building a model that can predict a person's salary.
Okay, so here's the most basic decision you have to make. The model could not care less if your name is John or Jane. That's just noise. But it absolutely cares about your years of experience. That's a strong, clear signal. Feature engineering is all about turning up the volume on the signal and cutting out the noise. And here it is, the chef's recipe card for our salary model. We keep the important stuff like job title and education level. We drop things like the employee ID, which is totally irrelevant. And then, crucially, we create a brand new feature, years of experience, from a raw piece of data like a date of birth, because that new feature is what gives us real predictive power.
This all sounds great, but it does bring up a really important question. How do they choose? Is it all just intuition, a data scientist just kind of feeling it out? Well, not exactly. There are actual systematic, scientific methods for this. You've got filter methods, which are like a pre-screening. They use stats to rank features by importance before you even start training. Then there are wrapper methods, which are more like a taste test. You use the model to try out different combinations of features to see which recipe works best. And finally, you have embedded methods, which are the most integrated. The feature selection is baked right into the training process, so the model learns what's important as it goes.
And all of this brings us to our final, and maybe the most important point of all. In this entire process, there's one key element that makes all the difference, and it isn't in the data at all.
And this is what's so critical to remember. Behind every single great AI model, there is a person, A human being with deep knowledge of their field, who has the creativity to see patterns, the wisdom to understand context, and the skill to make smart decisions that turn a messy spreadsheet into an incredible predictive tool. This is truly where human intelligence elevates artificial intelligence.
So that leaves us with one last thing to chew on. In a world that's becoming more and more automated, it's worth asking ourselves, is our own creativity, our own expertise, the one feature we can't ever afford to engineer away?
Thanks for watching.